Armenia has been one of the ancient countries which has actively participated and organized physical training of athletes, physical education, and sports games and celebrations. During the Urartu-Ararat Kingdom, sports festivals were held. Historical records show that Arkish II participated in the sports games which he had organized in the 8th century BC. The inscriptions of tablets say that Arkish threw his spear at a distance of 950 kangun, which is 492 meters. Some of the old athletic games were the polo on foot or on horse, pancration, boxing, wrestling and running different distances, jumping, spear throwing, archery, fighting with armor, riding, and others. We learn about the Armenian traditions regarding military education, horse rearing, and others from the works of historians like Herodotus, Strabo, Plutarchus, Xenophon, and others. Archaeological research has also yielded tangible evidence of the existence of athletic culture in Armenia. In the Greek town of Olympia and the whole region of Armenia, many frescoes, statues, and objects, sport complexes, and stone engravings were discovered which illustrate the athletic games, national athletic exercises, hunting, pancration with beasts, and military trainings. The frescoes and stone engravings of the caves also show the close connection between physical exercises and life in the old days. They show how the hunters used to run, jump, and dance, but more often thrust spears, javelin, pilum, and bills, stone axes, arrows, darts, and boomerangs. Like all the countries of the ancient world, hunting formed the foundation of physical education and sports in Armenia. Naturally, a competent hunter should have been a fast runner, jumper, and should have had a good thrust and pancration abilities. In time, the physical activities mentioned above turned into competitions, and in order to be a champion, one had to practice regularly. These were the foundations for the following games: running, jumping, spear throwing, archery, pancration, boxing, and discus. When the Armenian kingdom was created and the military developed and advanced, so did the riding, chariot racing, fencing, armor fights, and other forms of sports. One portion of the Armenian national athletic exercises was geared to physical education, and the other part to the development of military training. The national Armenian sports were the following: horse racing, boxing, play ball, which was either on horse or on foot. It had 70 variations. These types of sport competitions were held in the sports auditoriums, and the referees used to use whistles. Pancration. Polo had 2 variations, on foot and riding. Quite often, women were allowed to participate in this game. Combating. This was a defensive or an offensive game. This game was played using different warfare, according to which the name of the game was changed. For example, cudgel fight, club combat, rope combat, dagger combat, axe combat, poleaxe combat, hammer combat, shield combat, archery combat, and fencing. The fighters would also compete in lifting and carrying weights, running and jumping. These athletic games are also mentioned in the legends of Sasunti David. There are very descriptive pages of pancration, riding, archery, javelin throwing, kulaj fights, swimming, and other scenes of competitions. In the Middle Ages, the famous Patmuchum Farman Mankan folkloric poem, there are detailed scenes of pancration and information about the competitions and the outfits of the competitors. In the ancient manuscript library of Mesrop Mashdot, in the 6541 manuscript, there is an illustration of the pancration competition with presence of the king. The grapplers are bare feet and they are wearing undershorts. Physical education, sports, games, and athletic festivals were widely spread in Armenia. As written manuscripts testify, these activities were tightly connected with other forms of art and culture like architecture, theater, and music. There are different scenes of physical activities, hunting, pancration, and other games illustrated on different monuments. For example, on the northern side of the St. Cross Church of Akhtamar, there is a picture depicting archers on horses, soldiers and fighters, pancration with lions and bulls. And on the western side, there is a picture of a wrestling scene where one of the competitors is in his full clothing and the other in his undershorts. According to the above-mentioned examples and the writings of several authors, we may conclude that in the old times there were 30 different types of sports in Armenia, hundreds of games and competitions, and physical exercises. Most of these originated in the prehistoric times. However, the festivals of Navasat and Vartavad were more popular. Kuhn, in his book of General History of Physical Education and Sports, described the national games of many nations of the world, like the Sumerian festivals, Irish games, British Olympic Games, Indian Sarasvat. However, he mentioned Armenian Navasat and Vartavad before any other games. The same thing is mentioned in the book of Physical Education and Sports History. That is, in ancient Armenia, the most widespread festivals were the Navasat and Vartavad. Tigran the Great, Arshak, Khosrov, Tertat I, Tertat III, and Varastat Arshakunis, Sampat Bakratuni, and other Armenian kings have been proclaimed champions in different games during different times. The first participant and the winner of Olympic Games was Tertat III Arshakuni, whose life and career has been described in detail by Akatankeros. The historians Movses Khorenatsi, Ghazar Parpetsi, Pavstos Byzant, and Yerishe have also written about Tertat III as a champion of the 265th Olympic Games of 281 BC. Movses Khorenatsi gave a detailed description of Tertat's military and athletic abilities. From a young age, he was a great horseman. He was an accomplished military man. In the circus competition, he grappled with 2 bulls. He killed the beasts by pulling from their horns and smashing their heads. During a chariot competition, he fell from his chariot, but he jumped back up and, to the amazement of the audience, he brought his chariot to a halt. Akatankeros reports about the great athlete Varastat Arshakuni from the Arshakuni dynasty, who became a champion in pancration competitions of the 291st Olympic Games in